Hello, I'm John Fox on Channel John West. I'm having a Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc adventure, and we're in a memory right now about Yoko being all weird when she sees blood. Like that, she's like that. That's how weird she is. The world is a front and a back, a top, meaning, and a bottom, a sea of truth and a web of lies. The voice should change actually, shouldn't it, because of the tongue out. This is quite concerning. I mean, why is your voice change? Like, I got his voice down and it's gone. It's gone. I mean, she sounds completely different.
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Yeah, so I shouldn't be doing this voice anymore. Well, maybe I'll get the chance, maybe I won't.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
She's a writer or an author, after all.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can handle blood, and one that obviously can.
I think he totally did it, and he's trying to frame Toko. And yeah, he'll have a defense, and his defense I'll beat, because I think the victim is secretly a boy.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control. I'll drive out the killer, drive out the murderous fiend.
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
I mean, we know it's not right because, I mean, what sort of case would this be if we'd be like, oh cool, the other dude solved it?
How?
Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation.
This is the most I've heard of him, and I'm getting more of his voice now.
She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right, Toko?
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised! I can't believe you lied!
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to. This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise...
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep our promise. But don't worry, never again. I won't let Genocide Jack have control again. I do have to explain away that, but I still think gaslighting.
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me.
I don't think that was the promise.
That's the only reason I promised.
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that, but you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
I tried. I swear I tried to control it,
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person? You don't mean...
I mean, she might totally be Genocide Jack, but she still didn't kill Chihiro. Toko's body suddenly lunged backwards. A huge thud echoed across the courtroom, but in the next second...
Well, hello there! Is it me you were hoping to see?
That's Genocide Jill. That's not Genocide Jack. Also, no! No, I wasn't expecting that.
What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this? Toko, what happened to you?
Not Toko. That's a loser name. And what happened is a textbook split personality. So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's faults.
I'm still very suspicious of this situation.
She's so intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back, you know. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth lives a little lie. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
This is the murderous fiend, Genocide Jack. This is beyond insane.
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Oh, you seem kind of nice there.
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
I love that he's just like, cool, that's Genocide Jack. But he might not have done it. Like, I can come from the situation as a casual observer, but he's gone, better ask.
Well, I'll tell you, I am the mastermind of all masterminds! Just kidding!
Are you psychic as well?
Then it's not true? Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid? And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless!
That's also interesting.
I mean, they just let this idiotic, bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town!
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death.
No, you did it.
There's clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be revealed.
See, that goes along with my theory. I don't know what his secret is. What's his secret? Something to do with his lineage. He won't let us read the files.
Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about Genocide Jack. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
What's your motive?
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting.
I mean, just that he wanted to get out, but still.
But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
Huh?
But I cannot imagine.
anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion. Maybe so, but nevertheless it's the truth!
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
I believe you, Genocide Jill.
Yeah! I could never believe a word you say, you monster!
Maybe she's totally right about that, but something's still not quite right. What she said. I need to get some more details about all of this. Make your argument! Okay, disappearing stain, status of their body, blood. I'm gonna need to see the arguments.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things. Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need? Give it up. You killed her.
Okay, modus operandi.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things. Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need?
Bollocks.
Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but
Perhaps if you had a... Oh, an alibi!
When you compare your past, the modus operandi matches completely.
Damn.
Shoot!
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things. Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare the modus operandi matches what more proof do
bollocks.
we need? Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I...
you say that, but
Perhaps if you had an... Oh, an alibi!
When you compare your past murder, the modus operandi matches completely.
Shoot!
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us?
Perhaps if you had an alibi... Oh, an alibi, huh?
When you compare your past murder, the modus operandi matches complete. What more proof do
come
we
on.
need? Give it up.
Maybe the
You
rope.
killed her.
Sorry, but I...
you say that, but do you...
Perhaps if you had an... Oh, an alibi!
When you compare your past murders to this, the modus operandi matches completely.
Shoot!
Oh, wow, I don't know. I'm doing terrible here, aren't I?
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change... Oh, an alibi!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches. What more proof do we... Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that... Oh, an alibi!
When you compare your past murder, the modus operandi match. What more proof? Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any...
Sorry.
Perhaps if you had an... Oh, an alibi!
When you compare your the modus operandi. What more proof? Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that.
I'm doing really badly.
If you had an... Oh, an alibi!
When you compare your the modus operandi match. What more proof? Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
Oh, John!
you say that, but do you really...
Perhaps if you had an... Oh,
When you compare the modus operandi, what more proof? Give it up.
I don't even know
You
what
killed
clue.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really expect
That was blocked.
If you had an oh, an ele-
When you compare the modus operandi, what more proof? Give it up. You killed her.
Come on.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really expect
Perhaps
Well,
if
I'm
you
out
had
of
an
time anyway.
oh, an ele-
When you compare your past murders to the modus operandi, what more proof? Give it up.
Thumbs up. So I didn't read any of that.
Is the...
Let's give it another shot.
I refuse to give up yet.
Okay, I don't know which clue. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm just going to do all of them. So status of dead body. That's the only one that makes sense to me.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe?
Perhaps if you had an oh, an ele-
When you compare the modus operandi, what more proof? Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really expect
That
any
didn't
of us?
hit because otherwise I would have lost the heart.
When you compare the modus operandi, what more proof?
Alright, I'll try and
Give it
slow
up.
down time.
You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
Okay, not status of dead body. Well,
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
well, it's got to be the.
Shoot!
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
What? I've done everything, haven't I? I'm so confused. What did I not do?
Shoot!
Okay, well,
Sorry, but I
just
didn't kill
glam.
anyone.
You say that, but do you...
Perhaps if you had an oh, an alibi.
When you compare your past murder, the modus operandi matches completely.
Desk lamp. No, not desk lamp.
Shoot!
Am I missing?
Sorry,
I don't
but
even.
I didn't kill anyone.
You say
Status.
that, but
Perhaps if you had an oh, an alibi.
When you compare the modus operandi matches complete. What more proof do we need?
Right, well,
Give it
we
up.
Obviously missed that
You
one.
killed her.
Didn't get an F
Sorry,
for
but I-
this.
you say that, but do you...
Perhaps if you had an oh, an
I
alibi.
should
When you
totally
compare
delete this.
the modus operandi matches. What more proof
Oh, damn
do
it!
we need? Give it up. You killed her.
I'll be honest, I'm not keen on this part of the game. But,
Sorry, but
I
I
like the
didn't
idea
say
of it. I don't know why it's
Perhaps
sort
if you had
of
an
weirdly
oh, an
action orientated.
When you compare your past murders to this, the modus operandi matches complete.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. I swear I did that, but clearly I didn't.
Are
So,
the methods of murder really exactly the same?
you
I'm
see,
not so sure about that.
what's frustrating is I clearly know that it's not a rope, it's actually a desk lamp wire. But I didn't know this was the way I was supposed to communicate it. That's my excuse, right? Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I'm not so sure
I
about
think
that.
there's a slight difference between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Huh? How's it any different?
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you! I murder with passion and conviction.
It's lots of scissors.
I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of doing things. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything. But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee. This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Scissors? The victim's fatal injury.
I got it! For one, the cause of death is different. In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way.
You know what? I didn't actually read any of this, and I don't remember being able to read it back.
According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors.
Because that's something I didn't know.
But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
I mean, that's fair enough. Maybe should have known that.
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right! In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce!
Could you please stop comparing killing people to cooking?
So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
What was used to suspend her?
I got it!
I got it!
Do you remember what the killer used to suspend her?
Scissors!
They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her wrists.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, something else was used to suspend them. Specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I used my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement! Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences, but he's wrong.
Big Mac? Are you referring to me?
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually one more difference.
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look
They're
at who the
all
victims were
male.
in each Genocide Jack case. There's a pattern there, just waiting to be discovered.
A pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
Yeah, but I know yes. They're all male, but she doesn't know that Chihiro's male as well. Because Chihiro was a girl.
I got it!
I got it!
Is it because Chihiro was a girl?
I mentioned that ages ago. I had the case file.
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
What are you talking about?
In all the Genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in common.
I mean, this wasn't fair because I didn't recognize all the names. I'm not going to read them out.
They were all guys?
That's right! The people I kill with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men! I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl, and the mopey side of me just hates it.
So Hifumi actually called that.
But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
So, since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't kill her?
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid.
See, this is a much funnier callback than the whole I'm psychic
I
thing.
have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality of the one and only.
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. But that's not all there is to it. It's a different matter entirely. When you're forced to kill in order to survive.
Quiet, lowly cur!
Lowly? Cur?
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survival. And if by some fluke I did kill to survive, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect!
That does make some amount of sense.
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors.
I mean, she's insane, but she's not crazy.
Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any scissors in the school?
Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class envy of the entire world scissors!
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the school.
Are you sure about that?
She's fully equipped!
That's right! So I can kill anywhere, anytime!
Bear, 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 can you take her weapons away from her, please?
Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors by my side? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong! You can't, can you? Gutter dogs, all of you! Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot. So rope's totally out of the question anyway.
You're into sailors, though.
I have no idea what's going on anymore. Could such a heinous villain really be innocent?
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
No.
Yeah. That's why we figured it had to be the real deal and not some copycat killer or whatever.
Actually, hold on, there is one person. One person who could have copied Genocide Jack cases.
Here's my answer.
That's a new one.
Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it? You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents or internal police records.
Called it.
Plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Are you saying Mr. Togami did it?
Then, the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
Called it.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on it.
Well, I didn't call her actually being Genocide Jack. Give you that.
The adorable glasses man was behind it all? Oh, I'm on fire!
Well, Byakuya, what's your response?
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely you must have an answer.
What? I don't get why that's relevant.
Looking back and thinking about it now, the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange.
In the locker rooms. They're suspicious. Very suspicious indeed, wouldn't you agree? Ah, suspicious? Seems nobody searched the locker rooms. Let's start with the girls' locker room.
You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you want to say? The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls' locker room.
Nothing strange about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share with the rest of the class.
There's a clear contradiction in what Togami just said. Need to make it clear to everyone. New elements have been added to the non-stop debates. Would you like to hear more? Absolutely. Next we're going to add something called True Flashback. Oh god. If you aim at a weak spot and hold down the Y button, then you'll memorize that weak spot. Oh god. This mesmerized phrase can only be shot once as a single truth bullet. If you... Oh, it's for contradictions within the same thing. Okay, that's clever. If you shoot or change the truth bullet, it will disappear from your truth cylinder. However, you can use this flashback feature as many times as you like. If you don't seem to have an answer to a lie or contradiction in your loaded truth bullets, it might be wise to memorize a different weak spot and use that to make your case. When's the best time for a flashback? Well, you'll just have to use your keen wits, won't you? In this case, though, I will say that if you don't use a flashback, you won't be refuting anything. Well then, good luck. Have fun. Make your argument. Monokuma File 2.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found
Oh
the
yeah,
body.
he didn't know
But
she
he
was dead.
acting weird.
If you're presented with the opportunity, that's unnatural. The victim was Chihiro.
No,
that's wrong.
You didn't know there was a girl dead person. Also, no, that's wrong.
I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning is still too weak.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more than that. Go ahead. Show us.
What's with Togame's attitude? It's like he doesn't even care. I've got him cornered, but he's acting like it has nothing to do with him.
What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you? There must be more to it.
There is. I think.
There is more to it. Think about it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack incidents. The proof you're looking for is hidden in there.
Oh? Proof that I'm the culprit, you mean?
The differences between this case and the other Genocide Jack murders. The evidence that proves Togame is responsible is hidden in there. What could it be? Is it the, I like that Addy kind of tells me what I should be looking for. It's the lamp, isn't it?
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously,
Somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference between... You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same scissors.
But Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right!
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously,
Somebody
God
else
damn
must
it.
have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same scissors.
But Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right!
Then there must be something very...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong! I feel like I do it quite well though, so I'm going to continue doing it.
Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it before. Because, you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
Then Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that bloody message. I intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right?
Yes. He's doing it again! He's totally calm, totally unconcerned. It's as if he's not even involved. Wait, not even involved?
What's wrong? I asked you if you think that's what happened.
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right? Byakuya's the killer.
Byakuya.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
He kept calling this a game, right? So he'd be totally willing to do something like this to win.
Sorry, but could we hold on just a second? I think we need to talk about this a little more.
But if we vote now, we've already won.
Huh? Do we really need to? We've already decided who did it.
Yeah, I mean, I know you want to have all the answers, but...
I know, but still, there's something that's still bothering me.
Is that right? And what, pray tell, is still bothering you?
How you got into the girls' locker room.
I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath. What about all that bothers you?
Wait, what was that just now? Something's not quite right. Byakuya's scene of the crime.
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else?
How disappointing. What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointments, this is a true letdown. She was found dead in the girls' locker room. There is absolutely no question about that.
No, there's absolutely no question about that.
How could the scene of the crime have been anywhere else?
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was killed somewhere else, then carried there later, along with the rest of the murder scene.
The rest of the murder scene? That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for saying all of that.
I believe I do.
Hey, Byakuya, did I just take you off guard? When the story suddenly moved to a crime scene, Byakuya, who'd been so confident up until now, maybe Togami never realized that the actual scene of the crime could have been somewhere else.
Hey, don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed somewhere else?
And I don't get it. If we know who did it, does it matter? I know what happened.
Come on,
I do,
Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof.
Evidence that shows the murder took place somewhere else. I need to focus on these things that got switched. So... carpet. Okay, that.
I got it!
I got it!
The proof that she was killed somewhere else is... the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' locker room was a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. But don't you think that's kind of strange? Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
They might appreciate it, you never know.
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado.
You might be into that, you never know.
Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys' locker room.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker rooms. You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet, but I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally scrubbed away.
No, it's not that the great stain had been scrubbed away. It was moved.
I got it!
I got it!
The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
The one thing that was brought up, because I said in the last episode that I'm watching somebody who's further behind me, was the fact that presumably these handbooks can just take photographs and that's what they're presenting, which I never really thought about. I was just like, okay, I just went along with it. But yeah.
Does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why would anyone do that?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible, don't you think?
What?
In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
To make it look like a girl.
Huh?
Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the card reader device. But Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
going to make me do Hangman's Gambit.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
Is that right? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow? Okay, I know it's, well, Broken E Handbook.
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I've got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
It's wrong, by the way.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook of... If she had that, she could get into the boys' locker room, no problem.
Okay. No.
Is it really Could Chihiro really...
She must have hacked. She was the ultimate. I'm sure that would have been...
No, I don't... She used the thing that was...
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible,
I mean,
huh?
it could have been broken afterwards.
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Nope, only lending it.
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the noggin!
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She used her ultimate programmer skills and...
Psst! You can't fix an e-handbook! The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring!
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify her own handbook...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just wrong?
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room. So I guess so.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Is that it then? Chihiro was killed in the girls' locker room. Byakuya... Togami's the one who did it, really. But still, I don't know what else I can do.
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the... You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What?
What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Wait! Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official class trial recess.
Huh? For real?
Hey! Sorry, because it's Morgana.
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
Right. Before I even knew what was happening, the class trial had been put on hold. We headed off with Kyoko in the lead, and where she took us was...
The girls' locker room?
Are they going to lift up the dress?
We've already searched this place top to bottom! What are you trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
You want to check it again?
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Examine her carefully?
She's fucking dead!
Using our
For
hands?
fuck's sake! Hifumi.
No way!
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body.
Okay. Or boy's dead
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just... based on religious grounds, you know?
Very well. I'll do it.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her. So just leave this to me.
Sakura.
What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about?
That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, here I go.
Right. Now,
I'm sorry, Chihiro.
I'll let this pass.
Please excuse the intrusion.
Putting her hands together for a brief prayer, Sakura then began to quietly examine her body.
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
I feel like that should be enough information for people to guess.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but... What? This is... What is...
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible.
Sakura's eyes were staring wildly at Chihiro's lifeless form. Her massive frame trembled.
This girl is
what?
Is a boy!
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he. Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact.
What? You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Then it's really true?
Chihiro was a guy?
Called it.
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat. Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
Then he was a cross-dresser? Oh, no, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh?
Right.
Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting.
Okay, unless it isn't Tagami, I don't understand why Tagami wouldn't bring up that point by himself. Because they could have just voted for him without knowing any of this and not thought about it and just got the right person accidentally.
Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial.
So I'm going to let you go. I've been John Foxington, journalist. I've been having a Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc adventure. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Thank you for watching.